YouTube video 2. Let's see how this goes. First of all, thank you to anyone who went out of their way to message me after the first video. That one was obviously a lot different to how they're probably going to be going forward, but speaking on a couple of personal topics as well. So anybody who did go out of their way to message me, I am very, very grateful. This one is ideally going to be a lot different, showing a bit more behind the scenes of what a full week is going to look like. Self-employed online fitness coach, playing football over here as well, based in Western Australia, so I want to show a bit more of what that's going to look like in a full week. I don't necessarily think my individual days are overly exciting, so that's kind of why I'm going to try and spread this across the week. Hopefully that is a little bit more interesting. Playing a game this weekend, 2 trainings throughout the week as well, likely in the gym 2 to 3 times. Try and get into sauna 2 or 3 times as well. So that's probably what's going to be happening outside of work. We've got a couple of new starters this week. It is also end of financial year over here next week as well, so we've got a few things just to close out the year this week. To try and show you all of that and everything else in between. Apart from that, we are pretty much Monday morning. It's absolutely lovely. Out for Monday morning steps. Pretty much before this I just do half an hour on the laptop, organising myself so that whenever I do go out for this walk and come back in, I know exactly what it needs to get done. So Monday and Tuesday are check-in days, so just organise myself so that whenever I'm back in I can get straight to work. But next clip, don't know where it's going to be, and that's kind of how it's going to go for the week, but just going to show some random bits throughout the week and see how we get on. Time 20 to 5 after a full day on the laptop, and have a meeting later this evening at 7. So this evening in the gym I'll try and get a couple clips in here. It is a upper body orientated session, so I'll have training tomorrow, coming back from injury as well, so don't want to do anything lower body orientated before that session. But yeah, this is typically what happens on a Monday night. Try and get in and get some upper body work done, so going to try and get some clips of that. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. So we're on the road. Hello, how are you? Good. Thank you. So the name of the gym I use over here is called Good Life. It was the one I first got access to when I moved over here in November 24. I'm pretty sure I got a membership in there a week after, and I've just stuck with it ever since. Even whenever I moved house in January, I just wasn't bothered going looking at other ones. It's got pretty much everything that I need, and I'm just familiar with everything in there, so I've just stuck with that. But anyway, going on to Monday's session. So Monday's probably my favourite session because it's usually when I'm going to the gym at my freshest. As much as it is an upper body orientated session with training the next day, I like to try and get an opportunity to, or make the most of the opportunity to get a little bit of light movement, mobility prep stuff work done upstairs before moving into more power based warm up stuff where I throw a few med balls around and just get ready for the main session. The setup at the gym is quite nice for this because I do all of this upstairs, and then pretty much as soon as I go downstairs I know it's time to move into most of the main lifts. Don't think I've got an awful lot recorded off the actual main lifts themselves, but I think I've got a cable row in there. I did a dumbbell alternating chest press which possibly isn't recorded, and also a heavy face pull as well. And then a couple of other exercises which wouldn't have been included would be a machine chest fly, we've got bicep curls, we've got tricep push down, and finished off with a little bit of core work on the GHD machine, which again is me going back upstairs, and that's the end of the session. So into Tuesday morning now. The only thing that you've missed this morning is the exact same as what went on yesterday. Woke up, done 30 minutes on the laptop, just kind of organising what the day itself is going to look like. Out for a morning walk. It's another beautiful morning. Back in now and getting breakfast started. So breakfast today is a little bit different with it being a training day. I try and, I suppose on a gym based day tends to be like sourdough and eggs more than likely, and then a training day is a little bit more carb dominant, so try and go after oats, banana, probably put some dates in here and some honey. Nutrition is something that I've always been really passionate about, to be honest, but particularly coming back from an injury as well, it's an area that I want to have covered to make sure that when coming back from an injury, ideally that it's the very last time it happens. So in order for me to have peace of mind that that's the case, I always want to make sure that I'm going into any training haven't had enough food and had enough of the right food. So I'm going to show you what these oats will look like. It tends to be 80 grams of oats, a scoop of whey, banana, strawberries, honey. Dates are going into it these days. They're new in my life, but they're pretty nice, to be honest. And probably put some cinnamon in it as well, so we'll see what it's looking like after. This is what our end product is looking like. About 100 grams of banana, 80 grams of oats, 30 grams of isolate whey, 33 grams of dates, 25 grams of honey, topped off with some cinnamon. Food of the day, going to be pretty basic. We're looking at 4 ingredient spaghetti bolognese, spaghetti beef, pasta sauce, probably add in some onions maybe, and 5th ingredient being a little bit of fry light. Try and keep ingredients to a minimum on a training or a game-based day, just to make sure digestion's pretty good and not complicate things. But yeah, this meal is going to be the biggest one of the day, probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock by the time I have it. Then something a little bit simpler, pre-training, pancakes, more than likely with some syrup and banana. And I'll probably make enough here now as well for after training, so I'm going to show you what this looks like after. Evening walk time, and as much as sunset is extremely early over here at the minute, 5:15, it's still lovely every single time. Where are you living? Did you get accommodation sorted yet, or?
In the house at the moment.
Are you?
1 week left.
Go into Wednesday now. Wednesday tends to be a bit of a different work day, so on a Monday and on a Tuesday I'm typically in the house doing check-ins for their long laptop based days. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday do try and get out of the house wherever that might be, so it kind of varies a little bit, but most of the time just a coffee shop near the house, and we'll take the laptop work with me, and do a couple of hours work in there. So Wednesday is usually orientated around kind of marketing more than anything, so getting back to clients after the check-ins the last 2 days as well, but marketing, just kind of planning out some content for the upcoming days, if that's on Instagram, TikTok, or even some of the YouTube stuff, but would also try and do a bit of planning for some internal stuff, so that's some education content that does be on the website. So yeah, take the laptop in wherever it might be. Today we're heading here. How are you? Get a small long mac, please, topped up with skim milk. Upper body session 2 of the week. Hello there, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good. Back into Good Life then for session 2 of the week, which was primarily upper body orientated again, with a little bit of lower body and low intensity stuff included, but probably not recorded. The main movements I think recorded is an incline dumbbell chest press and a weighted chin up. Weighted chin ups being one of my favourite exercises in the gym, and probably always have been. It's something that I've always been fairly consistent with. I've been chasing a set of 3 with 50 kilo on at the moment, which is something that's getting a little bit closer. The reason that I'm enjoying so much is it's good to be competitive in the gym with yourself, but the weighted chin ups is something that you can very, very easily regress. I find if you're in there and you've had a poor night's sleep, you're not fueled well enough, you're generally going through the motions, you can quickly go backwards. On the flip side of that, whenever you feel like you're making progress and the numbers are showing, you know you've been on it and you've been consistent, you probably earned it, which is a good feeling. Second gym finish of the week, 10-minute drive across to the sauna. I'll finish out Wednesday evening in here. Sauna 1 of the week done. Going, hopefully this turns now. Go here, Alchemy sauna. So they've got a good few in Perth, and I have a membership in one of them. So it's about 5-minute drive from the 10-minute drive from the gym, 10-minute drive from home. Try and go 3 times a week. Full disclosure, I wouldn't necessarily say I've noticed any mad health benefits out of it. I probably have gone 4 times on average, maybe 4 times on average for the last year. I've had a membership in that spot for over a year, and as I say, I probably wouldn't say I've noticed any mad health benefits, but for me it is it's just another opportunity to get away from the phone, really. Like, find it extremely fucking peaceful. It's an hour away from the phone, an hour away from the laptop, which is hard got at times, and particularly whenever you work on it full time. It's just another outlet to get away from it. A bit of socialising, it's just good to relax, really, more than anything. And I suppose the ice bath side of things is good to kind of replace cold water that might have been easily accessible at the sea at home, as it's not as cold over here. So that's probably the main reason. Jeff go 3-4 times a week. Couldn't get any videos in there, was too busy. We'll probably be in at a quieter time at some stage later on in the week, maybe at the weekend, so we'll try and show you what it looks like inside. But yeah, plan now is dinner, and it is 8:30, which is quite fucking late, so probably just have a sandwich or something, and it will be bed and into Thursday and see where we're at then. Into Thursday morning out for a walk after breakfast in Hyde Park, and this turns around. One of the first spots that I went when I first landed in Perth, and one of the more frequent spots that I go for a walk. Work-wise today, probably out and about here now for a few hours, going to a coffee shop and banging out a couple of hours. What you didn't see yesterday was a couple of consultation calls too, so have 2 people to get sorted to get started for Monday, so a little bit of onboarding work for them, also a little bit more content planning, and have training this evening, so try and show you a little bit more of what that all looks like. Back home working now Thursday evening before training, and just closing off an email. So I send out an email with a useful PDF or some sort of educational content or helpful document out to everybody that's on the email list every 2 weeks. So this one that I'm sending across is a grocery shopping list that I finished last week. You may not be able to see this very well, but it's a Woolworths grocery shopping list, which is a shop based in Australia, but it's laid out in a way that you can make pretty easy swaps for if you shop in a different store in Australia, but also if you're doing any kind of shopping at home as well. It's laid out in a way that the product swaps are pretty easy done. So we've got protein options, a bit of understanding around carbohydrates, both complex and simple, when they should be used, how to use them efficiently, some random additional extra products that I take home, healthy fats, and a bit of extra info around how to read food labels. So that is something that goes up on the website here for clients to be fit to access, but as I say, it's also something that gets sent out to people that are on the email list, and I send those out every 2 weeks. So that's what we're doing at the minute. We're going to get this sent out, and then we've got training in an hour and a half. Friday morning, we are at 8 a.m. and it is a carb load day, so got through both trainings this week, so have a game tomorrow. So you're going to see what carb load looks like for me. It's pretty much the same foods which I would usually eat, but I try and make some changes to the serving size of certain things. So for example, the bowl of oats, which I would have had on Tuesday, is pretty much the exact same, but it's changed the serving size to 100 grams, slight reduction in the protein serving, and increase the likes of honey, and increase the dates that are in it as well. So ultimately the volume of food looks quite similar, but the end carbohydrate figure is a little bit higher. Overall aims for a carb load is 6 to 8 grams per kg of body weight for what's going to be happening for me game wise tomorrow, probably on the lower-ish end of that, so 6-ish grams per kg of body weight would probably be the target. Keep fat low, keep fibre low, keep protein at a moderate level. But yeah, I'm going to show you what that all looks like throughout the day as it is unfolding. And there's not a whole lot else going on activity wise. There won't be much happening if I'm in the gym. It'll probably just be a little bit of mobility stuff more than anything. Probably trying to get to the sauna this evening, out for a walk. It's breakfast after kind of ruining the presentation before I thought maybe you want to see it. But yeah, pretty much the exact same as Tuesdays with some adjustments to the servings. So that's breakfast, meal one. to 3 eggs, 200 grams of sourdough, and we're going with hot chili honey and a total of 26 grams of it. This is what we're working with. So again, it's a variation of the foods that I would usually eat, just increasing the quantities. It might look like there's a lot going on with the hot chili honey, but it's in and around 750 calories, and 100 grams plus of carbohydrates. Ready to visit the main man?
How are you, mate?
Yes, mate.
Good to see you.
How are you?
We're good.
What do you got to say?
Oh, nice.
Then back into Good Life for the shortest session of the week. I have a timer going to make sure this is the case, but I'm in and out within 30 minutes. I don't need to be spending any more time in there. The aim is pretty much leave feeling better than I did walking in. Half the time in there I spent doing some mobility work, and half the time I spent doing extremely low volume but high intensity lifts. To be totally honest, this was something that I was apprehensive of doing for quite some time, but the combination of carb loading, which is obviously a high volume of food, combined with me doing the bare minimum in terms of movement and treating it as like a rest day, had left me feeling quite heavy on a couple of occasions. Heavy and lethargic wasn't a good feeling, and that's exactly what this tries to counteract against. Whether I've noticed any crazy changes from the performance side of things, I'm not too sure, but to be totally honest, it just leaves me feeling a little bit better from the digestion point of view, which has a knock-on effect. And then a quick visit over to the sauna to get the videos that I promised earlier on in the week. So you can see the 2 10-person saunas and the 5-degree ice pool in the middle. The volume that I do the day before a game is extremely low, but just enough to leave me feeling good before the game. And similarly to the gym, anything that leaves me feeling less lethargic on a day like this is what we want. On to the second last meal of the evening, so we'll probably have a bowl of cornflakes later tonight, but the last proper meal is a basic chicken burrito, so 200 grams of chicken and 250 grams of jasmine rice, which is the lowest fibre rice, wrap on the bottom, hot chili honey over the top. It's up on Friday on both the carb load and a little bit of work. Finishing this off with about 100 grams of cornflakes with 40 grams of honey and some milk, and a little bit of client work for a new starter who's getting going on Monday, so laying out the plan for him and running through it, and also a client result that is going to get either posted this evening or probably tomorrow. So that's us wrapped up for Friday.
We're watching Cadman. Where's it going to come from if it is?
And then we're into Saturday, so the game is today at 2:30, so not a whole lot goes on a Saturday morning if that's the case, to be honest. So just got this bowl in around about 9 o'clock. Tends to be the same foods, as you can see. Hopefully you've seen a trend. Out to get a quick coffee, and then we're pretty much out the door not long after that. So I'll try and get a couple clips down here and show you what it looks like. On the road home from the game, 7 o'clock, thankfully won by 5 points, I believe. It was a good day weather-wise as well. You're going to see some clips. The girls did not get so lucky on the weather front, but they won as well, so happy days. The plan this evening is going to be pretty chill, I would say. Nothing much really going on. Go and make dinner. Tomorrow, plan to get into the gym in the morning at some stage to get a little bit of rehab done. It's the first time I've had that opportunity to play a game on Saturday and try and get a bit of rehab done on a Sunday in quite some time, so it's not going to be anything too crazy, but it's just, I want to keep ticking that box, and it's the furthest point away from the next game as well, so it's a good opportunity to get it done. And then afternoon we are going to the Optus. The Frio Dockers are going for 14 in a row, so we'll show a bit from that as well. And to Sunday morning, not a bad day. 10:30 we have the lower body gym session done, all done in an hour. Not too much volume, but just wanted to get a lot of boxes ticked, or a couple of boxes ticked before the furthest point away from the next game, just to make sure all is good on that side, which will likely change up the training routine next week. So Monday will probably be a rest day now before training, but we can live with that. Apart from that, go home, probably start groceries, try and get ahead of myself for the week ahead. About half an hour to an hour maybe on the laptop. I'm sure we'll find room for a coffee somewhere, and then meeting a few of the boys for the Frio game, which starts at 3 o'clock, and that'll bring us to probably the end of the week. closing notes recorded on Monday morning because Sunday evening spent celebrating another 50-point win for Freo, so clips are pretty limited, probably for the best. If you've made it to this point, thank you very much. When the next one will be, I'm not too sure, but I'll see you soon.